What is up, everyone? Today, I'm here with the brand new Walrus Audio Qi Etherealizer. And holy shiz, guys, girls, this is what Walrus Audio does best. Hands down, the coolest release I have seen from them in a while. Not gonna lie, the Voyager Mark II release, a little underwhelming for me. I've never been a huge fan of Walrus's drive pedals, but this is what they do. They make incredible ambient dreamscape machines, and this thing delivers in spades. I'm here to tell you, gosh, man, even with the price point at around 450 bucks, it is every bit packed full of value. And I'm gonna just do a first impressions video with you. I will be totally honest. I spent about an hour with this thing just trying to figure out all the functions before I even put it here on camera. So I'm just still learning it myself. So I'm going to try to give you as much and as accurate of a real-time sort of feel as I can. But I will admit I got pretty carried away just sampling this thing before because it's just so fun. It's so inspiring. And again, that's what I think Walrus does so good, is they just make these machines that make you want to create music. So first things first, today I'm running stereo. And the reason I'm running stereo is because this is a true stereo in and out pedal. You've got stereo in as well as out. You've got tip ring sleeve MIDI in and out on this pedal as well as USB-C connectivity. So basically any way that you want to connect and control this thing, you've got it. My signal chain, I've got my Jaguar running first through, barely off camera here, an Origin Effects Cali 76 compressor. All I'm doing is just controlling dynamics, not coloring the tone. And then all you hear is the Etherealizer. For amps, I have a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe with a 12-inch Jensen Alnico, and then my trusty old 1974 Super Reverb. It's going to be hard panned in post, so if you're not wearing headphones, go grab a set right now because you're going to want to enjoy this beautiful stereo spread, because this pedal is all about the stereo spread. So let's dive in. First of all, you've got multiple effects in one box. You have a chorus, which is incredible. Not only is it just a great sounding chorus by itself, you've got control, of course, for rate and depth, but you also have the option to go between like a tri-chorus, which is kind of a classic design, and stereo. I found myself just leaving it in stereo because it just sounds so nice and so wide in the mix. Next up, you have a delay, and this is a digital delay. It can be really crisp and tight. You've got controls for delay time as well as delay repeats. And then third in line is the Granular module. And to me, this is really what adds the unique sauce to the pedal. Full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of Granular. Like I'm a more old school player. I don't really get it as much. I've struggled with things like the Chase Bliss Mood and some of the other pedals like the Lure and the Fable that Walrus has released on this front are a little bit hard to wrap my head around. But what I like about this Granular module is it's really simple. You've got a mix to control how much of it is going to be in sort of the blended signal. And then you've got this X control, which basically determines how much granular is going to come through, and it's basing that on your playing dynamics. Somebody fact check me in the comments. You could probably add a little more detail. Again, I'm just getting to know this pedal. But basically, the more you turn it up, the more granular stuff is going to happen. And then the third control here is the ratio. So basically, you've got the ability to do it 1-to-1, which is same pitch, 2x, which takes it up an octave, 0.5, which takes it down an octave. You can do reverse as well, or you can do random. And I know that sounds like an overwhelming amount, but every single one of them, to me, it's actually surprising how well I can get it to work with my playing. And I have not been able to find that, again, in other pedals like some of the Chase Bliss stuff, the Onward, the Mood. It's just always been a little, I don't know, it doesn't really fit my style. This one just seems the easiest of all that I have tried. And then finally, wrapping everything out here, you have a reverb, which is global, right? So basically one knob, and there's only one parameter. It's more reverb or less reverb. Super simple. There's a tone control that basically controls the EQ of the entire effect set. So that affects everything. It's going to affect the chorus, the delay, the granular, the reverb. All of it is affected by this global master tone knob. And it's pretty cool because as you roll it down, you're able to sort of pull the presence of those effects back and to keep it from walking all over your playing. To my ears, it sounds like it has a little bit of a resonant peak at the sort of sweet point, which is cool, especially when you pull it back more into the mid-range. It gives this cool kind of, you know, old school lo-fi phone tone to things that I found really engaging and pleasing. And then, as if we didn't already have enough features on this pedal, there's also a series and parallel switch. What the heck does that mean? Well, as best I can put it in layman's terms, series is the way we have hooked up all of our effects since the beginning of effects in time. One goes into the other, everyone feeds downstream. That is series. They're all going in one to the other, and they go in the order of the pedals. So the reverb, the chorus, into the delay, into the granular, into the reverb, done. Parallel is where they run all side by side. And the mix knob here changes based on which mode you're running in. If you're in parallel, it's just basically blending in the dry signal, which is just your guitar, pure guitar going through in parallel with all the other effects. So the chorus is not influencing the reverb. The delay is not influencing anything else. They're all running individually, side by side. It is mind-blowingly cool, especially when you're creating these big, lush, ambient landscapes. I find myself really going through the parallel when I want to get more inspiring. I started out here in the opening track with them all in series, which is more traditional. I'll go and show you the parallel in a second. So, you know, that's it. I say that's it as if that's a little. It is a lot, but I will tell you, having spent about an hour with the pedal now, once you kind of get used to those controls, they are relatively intuitive. Again, I love that the granular function is trimmed down. You got a couple of other features here on the front as well. You got a tap tempo, so you can tap in your time for your delay. You can also set the divisions for the delay here as well with this button. You can choose if you want, you know, quarter notes, eighth notes, dotted eighths, whatever. You've got presets, so pushing both the bypass and the freeze button at the same time. I believe you got 3 presets plus a live mode that you can do there. And then the middle button is the freeze control. And I'll show this in a minute, but it's basically when you're using the granular engine, you can get some either phrase sampling or granular cloud, which are the 2 modes there, and you can lock them in. So you can create this sort of underlying pad that allows you to play over it and, again, design some cool landscapes. And then finally, you know, bypass, right? Turn the pedal on and off. So let's get down into it. I'm going to start just kind of messing around with some of these settings. And I think what I'll do first, I'll just kind of go through each of these effects on their own. I'm going to leave the reverb on pretty much the whole time because, again, it's kind of the final icing on the cake. I think everyone's going to want to keep it on. Just to let you hear what the reverb sounds like by itself, I've got the tone maxed out. So nice. It's got a little bit of modulation happening inside of the reverb itself, which makes things pretty tasty. So let's go straight into the chorus. I've got this again set up on the stereo mode, rate and depth, again, kind of up there around noon. Adjusting the amount of chorus up here. Very lush, very wide with the stereo settings. If you want to get a little bit more intense, you can certainly do so. So we can get wobbly. Pretty cool. Pretty cool if you're into that. I'm going to go to parallel mode just to allow you to hear what that sounds like with my clean signal running alongside it. This back a little bit more conservatively. So, I mean, again, any one of these effects as a standalone are just great. I mean, you could run this pedal just with the chorus and it's awesome, the reverb. So let's go on to the delay. Just as a standalone, I'll kind of let you hear what we're working with here. Bring the reverb down just to hear. off. Yep, so I'm running in parallel. Let me go back to series. So really nice, crisp delay. I'm gonna back the reverb off. In fact, let's take the reverb all the way off just so you can really hear it. I'm gonna go through the tone sweep as well, which again affects all of the effects globally. So if I wanna darken that delay up a little bit, let's bring that back to maybe say 1 o'clock. So now we're getting that kind of nice, warm, sort of analog type tones. I'm gonna go maybe to about noon. Starting to get pretty dark. Really deep, all the way down to almost unintelligible. And again, that affects all the effects as part of the whole. So now let's start stacking them together. I'm gonna pull the chorus back up, my delay off, bring my reverb back in, and let's keep our, I'll tell you what, let's keep our tone maybe around 2 o'clock here. So again, just absolutely beautiful, especially in stereo. I love it. I'm gonna go ahead and kick the Granular engine on now. And I find that I like it relatively low. If you get it too high, it gets kind of squirrely. So I find myself really running it sort of, you know, maybe anywhere between say 9 o'clock to noon. Just personal preference there in terms of how I like to use it. And I find that I like the Granular cloud. The phrase sampler will go find little tiny riffs and pieces of things you're playing and just play full phrases back. The Granular cloud is just a little bit more spontaneous and all over the place. And for me, it to my playing style at least, helps me create a little bit more of kind of an ambient sort of pad up underneath. So again, as I stop playing, you can kind of hear how it trails along. Let me show you a little bit how the freeze function works, and I think that's going to allow you to hear it sort of in action. I'll go through some of these different modes in terms of, you know, the standard mode, octave up, octave down, etc. So. Locked in place. So in that example, I had the up octave, which is the 2x. I'm going to take it down to just the 1x, and we'll kind of show you how that sounds. 2x. A lot of fun. And again, you can see you can actually change those modes on the fly with whatever sort of granular sampling has already happened. The thing I did at the end is so much fun, which is when you've got a pad running, you can grab the tone control and just write it almost like a filter knob on a synth. And you get these really cool, you know, swooshing, sort of reverberant patterns and filtering going on. So just a ton of fun to play around with. I'm gonna go into the parallel mode now. as we get ready to kind of wrap this up. Again, this was my whole intention here is first impressions and snapshot. We'll come back and we'll do a deep dive on the features later. But I'm just going to start messing around now from here the rest of the video, playing with some tones I think that are kind of inspiring. I'll mention things as I'm doing, but try to leave it mostly to playing and put some text on screen here just to kind of help you guys out in terms of what I'm doing. So again, I could spend so many hours long with this thing, and I probably will because this is the next thing I'm going to be borrowing off my borrowing list. And so if you don't know about us at BuyOrBorrow Music, we are a membership club for musicians. We allow people to borrow music instruments and equipment on demand for a simple monthly subscription fee. We start out at 19 bucks a month. And this particular item is on our Pro plan, which is $39 a month, but you have access to borrow it, keep it as long as you want. If you decide you love it and you can't let go of it, you can buy it at a discount. It's all part of our program. So check us out if you haven't already. If you found this video useful, insightful, inspiring, please give us a like and a subscribe. We're a small business, startup company, and every single like and engagement and follow means a lot to us, and it helps our content reach other people. So if you've got questions, throw them in the comments. If you want to put your hands on one of these yourself, sign up, grab one to borrow, or you can buy it outright, but I would encourage you to borrow it first. Check it out, make sure it's what you want to spend your money on. And you better do it quick because I think we're already out of these. We've only had them for like 24 hours. It's been a huge hit. Again, I think Walrus knocked it out of the park with this thing. And I look forward to doing a more deep dive video later. Until then, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you next time.